On the left, we have Daniela Peirson and her husband, Steve Peirson. And then we also have Dr. Dan Bouillard on my immediate left. They're going to share their stories and perspectives on the journey of stroke. Steve is going to begin and tell his story, and then Dan's going to tell his story, and then we're going to have time at the end for questions. So I'd like to invite Steve to begin his talk.
No problem, thank you. I think I'd start off with a little bit of background of who I am. My name is Steve Peirson. I am 49 years old, or as my brother likes to put it, I'm in my 50th year. I am a father of 3, married to, looking at the slides, a very, very involved spouse who's helping me in rehab. Both of us were born and raised in Kingston. And the point I make that is that we do have family and friends in the area, again, that have been very supportive and helped us in many ways. My stroke was on July 10th, 2009. I was 46 years old at the time. I was vacationing at our cottage in Quebec, which I then was rushed by ambulance to Notre Dame Hospital in Quebec, where I stayed until August 12th, when I was transported to St. Mary's of the Lake, and stayed there until October 31st. In which, upon leaving, just like to reflect back on that, because as everybody says, when you're, anytime you're in a hospital, you always hear you're so keen on getting home. I look back on it. You're going from St. Mary's, I can still remember it, relating it to our first child being born. Again, very keen to getting home. You walk out the door with your car seat with your child in there. You walk out, the door shuts behind you, and you look at your spouse and say, "What do we do now?" Because you leave the nest. And the same sort of aspects reflect when I was at St. Mary's of the Lake. I remember being so eager to getting home and going out the front door of St. Mary's of the Lake and having it shut behind me and going, okay, now what do we do? We were very fortunate that we had a great support staff, going from Myrna Rosa, who worked at Kmart as my OT, had tried to make the transition very seamless to having the house set up and allowing me to get in. We have a house that's somewhat challenging in the sense it's a 3-level side split, so there's a lot of stairs. But the family room was transformed into a bedroom, and I was able to stay there for a big period of time. And once I got home, we did have the opportunity of many peer groups that were somewhat in the medical field. So there was easy navigation throughout the system of having people, whether it be the Canadian Brain Injury Services or from different aspects that allowed my wife the opportunity to know, get on this waiting list, get on to here, so we were able to get some of the services at a much faster rate than the normal person would have had. So that's great. We had those opportunities. And the other aspect that I really want to emphasize with my wife, unfortunately, being a teacher, we were able to have her benefit package, which has allowed us to access private physiotherapy with the great help of Shannon Mulholland, who's my physiotherapist, who comes approximately 3 times a week. And did you get my good side? 3 times a week, we continually to see great improvement in I'm able to walk around the house and up and down the stairs, no problem. And more importantly, her physiotherapy has given me the confidence to do certain things. And again, sorry, before I get too far ahead of myself here, the challenges that I do have is I have partial paralysis in the left side of my body. There is a vision aspect. So right now, just so you know, I only see this part of the room. Everybody over there I don't see right now. Because I have left side neglect. Which is, something in itself. It didn't take my kids long to figure out that they could sneak up beside me and I wouldn't be able to see them. But again, it's challenges that both my occupational therapist and other professionals were able to give me certain tools and aspects to be able to adjust to it. It's not something that's going to come back. You take that, whatever, you deal with it, but it is something that you're able to accommodate them. Going forward, we had Shannon come in, and she's doing a great job. We do physio in the house, which is very, very accommodating. And it's something that with Dale's benefit package, not everyone is able to do what I'm doing, which is something we have to sort of really emphasize here. I'm very fortunate that way. And also, her benefit package has allowed me to utilize the Botox treatment through Dr. Bag. Once we were able to establish that the Botox wasn't used to get rid of my wrinkles. That's a true story. We had to, Dr. Begg had to write letters back and forth to Manulife, saying it wasn't cosmetically being done. So, in that aspect, we're using it for tone, and it's been very helping efficiently on my rehab, whether it be through my wrist and arm. So it's great that I have all these aspects helping my recovery. From a standpoint of how ongoing physio and different helps your rehab, again, I look to reflect back on certain things that I wasn't able to do and now do. Most recently this past year, I have 3 kids that are very active in sports. I was able to walk into the hockey arena and instead of wheeling in my wheelchair. And as much as that's a personal achievement, where I really find it is people like my wife Daniela, the look on their faces as people come up to them and say, boy, is Steve ever doing well? And the gratification they get saying, yes, he is. I mean, it's not always apparent that you're doing well because they don't see you walking around the house. They don't see you doing the things you have to do. So that's a great satisfaction for me to see someone of my support staff, Team Peirson as I call it, but so those aspects, and we keep seeing increases. One of the newest accomplishments that I've done is I have got the confidence through Shannon and to allow me to enter in the pool at the Y, which I'm now able to do lengths up and down using a one-arm front crawl, which is a great achievement. And through assistance, I'm able to get on the stationary bike at home, and I'm no Lance Armstrong, but we're working on it. It's doing very well. It's great. And those things, again, have some type of physical aspect, but it's the mental aspect that really comes in helping out. And I don't think that's, again, quantitatively been able to be measured. But the physio, I mentioned as well to some of the people that are talking to me beforehand, for my days that are somewhat long at times as I'm home, dealing with things, knowing that I've got my physio coming in, personally I feel that that means I'm taking today as another step of me getting better. And that in itself, you can't measure. That is priceless, as they would say. So knowing that you're going to work out today or going to work, your job is, unfortunately, I was a financial advisor, and that's not going to be probably something that I'm going to be able to get back at. But my job right now, I have to keep telling myself, is to work hard and get better, which is happening, which is very satisfying. I think I've covered pretty much everything. The final note that I'd like to do is just to mention the fact that this journey through the system, I should have mentioned back when I'm reflecting back, my acute care was at Notre Dame Hospital, and I know that, Doctor, we talked a bit about how getting up and getting active right away has statistic data of showing you. Again, the stuff in the Notre Dame Hospital is kind of a blur as you go from enjoying time on the dock at your cottage to waking up in a hospital room with people coming around you. And my one thought that I remember that will always be there, I'm sitting in my bed, and again, trying to adjust what's coming onto you. And just so you relate, it's not like you were in a car accident. There is no physical pain. You're laying in bed, really not knowing what's going on with your body. Yes, we have doctors coming in and saying, squeeze my hand and push my foot down to see what activity you have in your limbs. Again, that really wasn't registering what was going on. Then you are asked, the next step, someone comes into the room, asks me, helps me, assists me, and gets sitting up, and again, that's all wobbly, you're not knowing what's going on. And he brings in this large apparatus, which turns out to be a crane, something that's going to lift me out of bed. And I don't know what's going on. I get lifted up, I feel like I'm a tuna going down to the market to be waiting. So you get up, you flop down into your wheelchair, and you're taken down to this room, and again, put into this little, that it's at Quebec, it's a very French hospital, so everything was very confusing. We get into this room and there's a set of parallel bars. Again, I'm going, what I'm doing, get up out of the chair and let's go. So I'm saying, I can barely get up and I'm just hauling, as I know now, I'm doing everything wrong. I'm pulling myself out of the chair and I get somewhat stabilized, again, trying to adjust what's going on in my body. Let go of the bar and grab this ball up there. I was like, what? Let go of the bar? And then all I hear is this voice in the back. One of the gentlemen that wheeled me in, who I noticed was about half my size, saying, don't worry, I've got you. I was like, there's no way you got me. I'm sorry. So of course I go ahead and try to grab this ball. I'm sweating and back in the chair, back in the room, crank the door up, I go back in bed. This is great. So I appreciate the fact that you're supposed to get up and get going, but I tell you that was a really sort of traumatic experience. And pretty well that's about all I had to say about my journey. I think I covered a lot of it. And again, I'm probably way ahead of what I'm supposed to do, but I will be around later for questions. That's what I do still see. The big emphasis I'm going to say to everyone here, my rehab is ongoing, and I'm still seeing great changes in my body and my quality of life. So it's not a certain set point in time. I'm 3.5 years outside of my stroke, and I'm still seeing changes. Oh yeah, thank you. I did find out too, some of the challenges that I have physically, that I am now prone to having some seizures. Yay me. So we are adjusting with that. That's being taken care of. It's not a massive problem, but it is something else that I'm dealing with. But it's part and parcel of what goes on. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about my journey through this system as being a user. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much.